All right, we're all here. It looks like there's about 308 participants, and we're trying to get all of our panelists in, but we are going to get started. I'm Becky Guzman. I'm the principal at West Park. We are kind of in disbelief that tomorrow we are opening school. It's pretty amazing. And as you all know, it is definitely not the position we wish we were in. But we are going to do our very best. And tonight is about making sure that we prepare you and your students for what's coming with our dynamic online learning. This is a district-wide initiative, so our teachers have had a lot of district support as well as local site support. So we're going to bounce around a little bit. Quite a few of us are going to share tonight. I do want to share a little bit of the agenda with you. Paige, if you can go to the next slide. These are the things we're going to cover. If you please note at the bottom, we have a bit.ly for questions. It's we lose the chat pretty quickly, and so it's easier for us to track questions in a bit.ly. So if you could please put them in there, we will be answering them if they fit as we're going through. But those are the topics that we will be covering. So if you see the topic of your question listed there, you might wait until after we go through that information in order to ask your question. So hopefully that's helpful. That bit.ly will show up on most of our slides tonight as well. So Paige, if you could go to the next slide. So this was our reality today. And I will try not to get emotional at all, but we wanted our whole story to start today, but this is the chapter we're in. We're in a chapter that we can't necessarily control. We can help by doing the things that we are being asked to do, but we're not in control of what's happening right now. We need to do the best we can with the circumstances we've been given. So it is just a chapter, and we will be sharing some videos with the students tomorrow in which we share with them that our goal is to get them here as quickly as we can so that we can finish the story with them. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. We recognize the pieces are not coming together the way maybe this entire community, well, for sure the way this community had hoped. And so we would just want to keep our eye on that as we go through this. Paige, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So hopefully you've seen this. It's on our webpage. This is our schedule for the next little while here. It's very different than online learning that occurred in the spring within our district. So if you have a sophomore student, this will feel very different. If you have a freshman student, I don't know what exactly happened with your student last year, so it might be similar or different. There's a word that you'll hear a lot being used, the word synchronous. So what synchronous means is that students are actually attending school each day. They are going into a classroom on Zoom at 8 o'clock in the morning for first period and continuing throughout the schedule for the whole day. So their teachers will be waiting there for them, their classmates will be waiting there for them, and this is what their schedule will look like. You'll notice an hour for lunch. That is so that all students can get the food that they need. Free and reduced lunch students can pick up lunch here at West Park. We'll be having lunch served by our food services department. And then you'll see that classes end at 1:30. We are going to talk about the hub support period, that is Tuesday through Friday, in just a little bit. But that gives you a good idea of what the schedule will look like moving forward. All right, Paige, you can move to the next slide. Mr. McGregor is going to talk about attendance.
All right, good evening, everybody. Attendance is really important because you can't learn if you're not here, of course. So a couple of points, though, about attendance. Number one, it's super important when we're talking about those synchronous classes that Ms. Guzman was just describing. In this model, it's going to look a little bit different than obviously it would any other time, and very different than it did last semester, last term. Positive attendance has two components. The first thing that each student must do is be present. Just like I am now, you can see me, I'm clearly here. The student must be visible at some point during the class so the teacher can verify that that student is there. And then the second part is they must be engaged. And that can mean a lot of different things. In this case, what it means is there's going to be an assignment that the teacher gives on a daily basis that must be completed. So if you show up and you're on a screen, but you don't do the work, it doesn't count as being present. Or if you do work, but you're not visibly on the screen, that may not count either. And so there's a two-part, and this is, I think this is statewide, and Becky, you could maybe nod if that's true. this is not just a West Park High School thing. This is a bigger picture piece across the state. Two things to do if you're not going to be in class one day for one reason or the other. The first thing is to call our office, just like you normally would, to let us know that your student is not going to be in class. And the second one is that your student should make contact with their teacher, because just because you're not there at that particular class time doesn't mean there's not a lot of important work you can still get done and a lot of learning you can still do from video lessons, that sort of thing. So again, make sure that as a student, you're showing up on the screen each time you have a class, that you take care of those assignments. And if you're not going to be there, let both the school know as well as your individual teachers. That's it for that.
I'm going to step away and let Mrs. Hildebrand come in and talk to you about Hub support. We are sharing a workstation.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Mrs. Hildebrand. I'm the 9th grade counselor, so I know that I've seen a lot of your faces around, and I'm happy to be on this with you. So Hub support, we've been asked, how are we making sure that our students are getting the help that they need and making sure that they have contact with the teacher. So we have the Hub support, and it's Tuesday through Friday, and there's a couple of different ways how it can be used. It can be used either office hours, so teachers will have a Zoom link where they'll have actual office hours. So students can pop in, pop out, ask some questions, kind of just as needed, as a check-in for them. The other way is that some teachers may actually use it as an invitation. So if they recognize that a student is struggling, or they recognize that a student may not have been very engaged that day, they would invite that student to participate in the Hub support. So it's really just a way for us to make sure that we are all checking in with every student and giving them the support that we would give them if they were here on campus. And if your student has an IEP, this is when their case manager is going to address those IEP goals with them. So it's really kind of a flexible time for most students. And as we get further into it, we may use it differently, and some teachers may use it different than other teachers. So just be flexible and know that every day might not look exactly the same, but you can always reach out to us with any questions. Thanks.
All right.
And Mrs. Eisenhower is going to handle this next slide.
I stole it from her because that's just kind of how I roll sometimes.
Sorry, I missed that.
I just get so excited, that's all. So just wanted to share a little bit about the expectations for online learning, and you'll be able to see this stuff. It's not just right now, we'll have it posted for you. You'll hear about it from your classes and your teachers. I'm going to highlight a few of them. I'm not going to read every single one of them to you, but the first and most important thing is to make sure that you have a charged device or that you're next to an outlet, because you can't get online if you don't have power, of course. The second thing is making sure that when you're in class, it's just like when you're at the school site in a classroom. There's certain kind of behavioral expectations. There's ways you interact. And we're just asking that whether you're online in your bedroom or whether you're in a classroom at a desk, that those same kind of behavior expectations are still there. So that means respecting your peers and your teachers, showing up with a positive attitude, ready to learn and engage. The next thing is distractions. I, for one, am at my office right now because if I'm at home, I have lots of distractions. And we know that different homes have different levels of stuff going on. So if you can find a distraction-free place, that's what we would hope you do. We know it's different for each person. And then lastly, just making sure again that if you're going to miss a class, that you let your teacher know so they can make sure you get you that support. And then again, you'll see these things regularly throughout the next couple of days, but we just want to make sure that as you're engaging in your online learning, that you're bringing your best self, your first best foot forward, engaging either in your first year of high school or your second one. But either way, we're all engaging the first time around in an online environment and the first time as Panthers. And so we know you're excited, we're excited, and we just hope that we'll all bring that excitement with us to class.
I'm going to jump in real quick because I'm monitoring the question bit.ly that we have up there. And so I just want to give people an opportunity to get their questions answered as we go here. There's one question on here, will we get a bell schedule? And you must have just missed us at the beginning. It is posted to our website. And I shared it at the beginning of this. So when we post this video of this webinar later, it will also be on there, but it is available on our website, and it will be the consistent bell schedule during our dynamic online learning. One of the other questions is, will there be different Zoom links for each class? So your teachers are going to do a variety of things with Zoom links, what works best for them and for their students. And so we will share that with you in just a moment. And then I do have one of our teachers put a friendly note on here the teachers already having students try and access Zoom classes with non-school district email accounts. And so in order to log into our Zoom classes, you must be logged in with your account for our school district. That's how we make sure that our Zoom environments are safe. And so we do need to keep track of that as well. I did have a question in the Q&A that the link to the bit.ly isn't working. It is. So if you can try that again, maybe hopefully it will work for you. Last question I'm going to answer right now is, can you use another device besides your Chromebook? You can, as long as your question states, that you are logged in with your school account. And so you would need to be able to be logged in with your school account in order to access the Zoom link. All right, I think that's all the questions that are on here for now. And then we'll come back to the rest of them in just a little bit. This is actually me. So we had Panther Pickup Day, and it was awesome to see all of our students and parents. Thank you for driving your students here. We got such great pictures in front of the West Park sign. We're looking forward to including those in future, something in the future. We still do have materials to distribute. And so we will be asking students to come by campus to pick up art materials, novels, actually this Friday. Some of our students need additional textbooks. So we will be asking people to come back. If students aren't able, we will make accommodations for that and figure out how to get materials to all of our students. And just a little preview, you're going to be seeing teams of us out in the neighborhood. We have a lot of these signs that you maybe have started to see sprinkled through the neighborhood, as well as some fun class of stickers that go on here. So we're hoping to visit each and every student and see a face. Obviously, these will be porch visits with masks, but we are hoping to see you all. And so there will be opportunities for us to bring materials to you if need be, but materials were distributed. So we can go to the next slide, and then after this next slide, I'll take a few more questions.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about technology. Hi, everybody. How are you? This is Kathy Eisenhower. I'm one of the assistant principals at West Park High School, and we could not be more excited to welcome the kids tomorrow, even if it's in a proverbial way right now. We can't open our doors, but we can open our hearts to them, and we can't wait to see them. And that being said, we just wanted to say that our technology department at Roseville Joint Union High School District has been working beyond overtime to get a really great infrastructure in place to make sure that every kid has the services and access they need to these great classes that we want to provide. But we all know that there will be glitches because technology, that's got to be one of the rules of physics, that technology will at some time go down one time or another. If that happens to you, there are some ways that you can reach out for support. The technology helpline is listed on this slide, the number, and it will take you right to a voicemail, but they're very prompt to respond to that. If it were me though, Mrs. Guzman and I were playing around with the district website today and looking at the technology department link on the Roseville Joint Union High School District website, and it is pretty clean, pretty slick. It's got a lot of tutorials for kids. It's got even how to clean your Chromebook. It's got Q&A, it's got privacy laws, everything you need to know about tech. So we really invite you to visit that page. It's changing rapidly, but a really, really helpful source of information. Also, there's always just the old standby. If you're having issues, it's really helpful sometimes with our Chromebooks to just turn them off and restart them again and see what happens. That can help you out too. So that's available for you, and we can go on to the next slide.
Can I jump in on that one? We've got a couple of questions about students that are having trouble logging in. We got a message today from our district technology folks that they're having some bigger picture issues with kind of resetting passwords and that sort of thing. So if you're going through the steps that you're seeing that Mrs. Eisenhower just referenced, it may be that it's part of that bigger picture issue. So be patient. We'll try and get some communication out to you as well. But if you are having trouble logging in, follow those steps. Go ahead and reach out to that hotline and let them know you're having trouble so they know what's happening as well.
Thank you.
This is also Mrs. Hildebrand, so I'm going to step aside and let her come talk about student support.
Hi. Okay, so with the online learning piece, we want to make sure that students have access to various tools and people and things that can support their emotional well-being. So every day in second period, every single student is going to do a brief check-in, and it's done online. And if they need to talk to an adult, if they need to talk to myself or Mr. Baines, we will get an immediate email, and we can, decide if we need to go out, do a porch visit, if we need to give you a call, if we need to Zoom with your student. So we're going to have real-time access to knowing what's going on for students every day. And, we're there for the ups and downs and the ins and outs. And please know that we have your students top of mind at all times, and we want to make sure that they're doing okay. Without the school counselor support, many of you have reached out to us about scheduling meetings with us and for your planning and all the good stuff that us counselors get to do. So we thought that tackling school counseling appointments might be a little bit rough the first few days of school, since we have to learn Zoom and all the Google Classroom stuff. So next week we will send out quick directions. We're going to do it through our website, and parents and students can click, and you can sign up for various different types of appointments. If it's student check-in, family check-in, if they have a question with the class, we'll do for your planning in there. So all of that will get rolled out to you next week so that you know how to access us and have Zoom meetings. The other piece of this is the Wellness Center. So you received an email, I want to say yesterday, from our Wellness Center, who are amazing. They can also provide some of those social emotional check-ins. So they can provide 15-minute check-ins with students. They also are a super great resource for mental health, attendance, engagement, community resources. So if you have any questions if you need help and you're not sure where to turn to, the Wellness Center usually has somebody that can answer your question on any of that. And then if you feel like your student needs, or if you're a student and you feel like you need ongoing weekly support, that is something, and that was in a link in that email, that you can email myself, Mr. Baines, or you can refer through the website and ask for some of that one-on-one support. So these are all services available to all students anytime. And we really want to make sure that you know that we're here thinking about their hearts just as much as we want to make sure that their minds are engaged. So that's what we're doing. Next slide, please. So I know that Mrs. Guzman talked about the Zoom link. So you probably, if you're like me, so I have 2 high schoolers coming here starting tomorrow. So I was blown up with texts, with emails, with Aries Communications and different Zoom links, and that's all super normal. So we wanted to just kind of screenshot a schedule and see another place that you could find all in one spot. Most of our teachers have put on the home link part, they put a meeting to hit join, and your student can log in through their Roseville joint email and through there, and they can click and join that meeting right from there. Additionally, I know that our staff has sent out the emails and the texts and all that. So and they're all a little bit different. Some teachers have one Zoom link all day, and some have different Zoom links per period. So just being mindful of that. If you cannot get into a Zoom class, if you are struggling, you can't find that link, please call our front office, because we have a list of all of them and we can let you know what they are as we go. And that's it for me. Thank you.
One suggestion we might make is creating a Google Doc and putting all of your Zoom links in one place so that you have them and they're easy for you to find. Kathy, before you start on this, I'm gonna answer a few more questions. One of the questions was, do all students only have 4 classes? Yes, we're on a 4x4 schedule. This is not different than normal. It's actually our exact same schedule that we have all of the time. So your student only has 4 classes when we are in regular session as well. I see quite a few questions about logging in. And so I can't go through each of these by detail, but we will make sure on the front of our webpage that all of the login information is very, very clear, because it looks like a few people are having trouble. And as Mr. McGregor said, we've got people that just registered that things aren't quite set up yet. We will continue to support you through that. So calling us, in the morning, if you're really still struggling, would be the right call to make, because we want to make sure you're getting in. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read these quickly. How is PE going to work? They're doing a great job. So if your student has PE, they're going to engage your student just like any other classes. They're going to bring them into class. There's going to be some activities that are done within the class, and then there's going to be activities on their own. I can't give you exact specifics, but your PE teacher will provide that. They have been working very hard, actually, as a district group, to ensure that PE is still, that students are still moving and taking care of their bodies. More now than ever do we need them to make sure that they are healthy and moving. One more question I see a couple times on here is, should we be concerned that we didn't get any textbooks? No, you should not. We have quite a few classes that either are working off of a online textbook that your student will have access to through a Google Classroom or a format like that. Or we also have quite a few classes that are not using a full textbook, but are using open source materials and other ways to get information to students that are more diverse. And so you'll see that primarily in our science classes, but also in a few other places. I see questions about what time will we be able to pick up our art supplies and books. So when we are ready for you to come pick something up, we will make sure you get a specific email about what we need you to pick up and when to do that. A few questions about connectivity. We know that's going to happen. We definitely, if your student gets dropped out of a Zoom call, the first and can't get back in, we would really like them to email the teacher. Part of the attendance is related to engagement. So if we can move that student through the curriculum for that day and have them do the daily check-in, we can still give them some positive attendance for that day. But it's imperative that they connect with the teacher right away if they can't stay connected. I know there's been a few concerns about Zoom out in this area and people having trouble with their internet connection at home. All right, Kathy, I'm gonna let you do a slide while I read some of these and get answers ready.
Sounds good. Thanks, Becky. This morning we talked with our teachers just to, touch base with them and see how they're doing. And it's the excitement that they have for this upcoming year was really palpable. And one of the questions we asked them was, if you could say anything to our parent community tonight, what would it be? And it was so interesting because the responses we got came in two categories. So you'll see them on these next two slides. The first slide has some technical things that they really wanted you to know, and that was, keep all lines of communication open. So check your email, check your phone messages, just be ready to be receiving information from teachers and from our office. Also, English students, if you're enrolled in English, just be ready to pick up your book club book on Friday during hub time at the Union building here at West Park. It's that front building right by the parking lot, by the big sign. And then, love this one, come out for sports. Email the coach or John Hildebrand. His email address is right there, jhildebrand@rjuhsd.us. And they've got some stuff going on, so you got to figure that out too. You got to figure out a way to get in touch with your sports people. And then the last one is that jazz band starts at 3 p.m. So if you're that parent, just there's a detail for you that can help you also kind of know what's ahead. Then we can go to the next slide. The second set of things that they said were some really kind of more inspiring things. We're learning right alongside you. We're in this together. Every transition to something new feels strange and confusing at first, and then we adapt. Go Panthers. We're excited to meet your kids, and we got them. So we're excited. It's gonna be bumpy probably at times, but you've got a group of teachers who cannot wait. They cannot wait to meet your kids.
The proverbial I'm on mute, sorry. I see quite a few questions I can't answer, and probably a couple that we're going to need to dig into a little deeper. One of them is, we've had this a lot, will there be a materials list? Maybe, it depends on the class. Most of your students are going to be able to do most of their work on their computer. And so if a teacher needs something specific, they will share that with your student in the next couple of days. Right now, I would say having their Chromebook and some paper and a pen handy is enough, and then we'll go from there with each teacher. That's generally how we do that during the school year, regardless of the circumstances. I've a couple more questions about our schedules. So if you're new to the district, and we've had a lot of enrollees this summer, which is amazing and awesome, and welcome to the area if you're from out of the area. A question about the number of classes and being able to meet A to G requirements. So our students actually end up taking 8 classes a year because they take 4 in the fall and 4 in the spring. So they have more than some schools that have 7-period day schedules and things like that to meet the A to G requirements and the other requirements for college entrance. So that would be those types of questions. That would be a great reason to set up an appointment with a counselor to make sure you have a 4-year plan that helps direct your student in the direction they want to go. So really good question there. The Zoom link for a particular class will be the same for each day. There's not a new link every day. So it's either a teacher has one for their whole day and they're having kids come in and out of the same Zoom, or they have one for each period, but it will be the same. So they don't have to find a new Zoom link every day. That's also an excellent question. It looks like the rest of these, there's a lot of questions about Aries and home links. So we're going to repost some things and potentially send out an email if we can get that out tonight to all of you with some question or some answers to these questions, because it looks like a lot of just login questions are, a lot of these are specific login questions about Aries, about my.rjuhsd. So we need to send out some information for you to understand kind of the differences between these. I don't see, I'm checking both question and answer areas. Will there be minimum Mondays? Yes. So we don't have hub time on Mondays. So students do leave early if you check that bell schedule. Great question that I see. Is there any plan to do outdoor engagement for a couple times during the fall semester? Right now, we are relaunching athletics soon in our district, and there have been a lot of questions about how to include other groups in that as well. And so we hope to. We have had some really great ideas about even online engagement, so we hope to be pushing those things out as well. Teachers should have their links out. So if they aren't out, we can check in with them. Let Jessup, did you want to add to that answer?
Sorry, I'm typing in answers. Which one?
Never mind.
Okay.
It's okay. And there's quite a few questions on both the Google Doc and the question and answer about when are we going back in person. Oh, do I wish I knew. We would love to have you here, all of you, parents, students, and everybody. That is not up to us right now. It is obviously there's a state mandate about schools. And so we will be watching just like you will. So let's all wear masks, wash hands, make smart decisions about what we're doing in life. And we hope to get back here sooner rather than later, obviously. You will notice too, we haven't done any of our grand opening ceremonies or anything like that. And the reason for that is we are not going to do that without the community. It is way too important for the community to be part of that. And so we're doing a pretty soft open here, but that is on purpose because we can't have a gathering right now. And you guys deserve a gathering. You deserve to be part of what we're doing here when we open. But it is tough for us and we want to be back as well. So I am going to there's a lot of questions on here. I'm going to try and answer. I don't know if Kathy and Jessup, if you want to jump in on the ones on Zoom at all as I try to. I do have a question on if you don't have internet availability, our district is supporting families with that. Please go to that district technology page on our district website. And you can find information regarding that.
So I'm seeing clubs and athletics coming in quite a bit in different forms. It's a moving target, like most everything else is these days. It sounds like we're going to have some access to do some small kind of conditioning version of athletics. And so you'll receive information about that probably in an email coming up soon. That won't start until at the earliest next week. When it comes to clubs, you're also going to get some information from Mrs. Clendenin, who's our activities director. We do want to have clubs. We do want to have students be able to associate and that sort of thing. But how we do that in a Zoom world is kind of a changing landscape. And so we do want that to happen, but there will probably not be gatherings in person, even with social distancing and masks. That's something that hasn't been approved yet for our district or our county, I don't think.
There's a question on there, if students are required to attend hub period. Kind of depends. If your student is not doing well in a class, we may start asking them to make sure that they are checking in with their teacher. If they're doing all of their work, they're doing fine. They are not required to be there, but we're holding that position a little bit so that we can make sure that students are accessing support if they need it. I see a question on the Google form about West Park High School swag. So our East Bay store is back up. We'll make sure the link is live on our website. I'm pretty sure it is. It has gone out on social media. And so the primary place right now that you can buy swag is there. We don't have an inventory, nor do we can't have the people coming on campus to gather things. So the East Bay store is your best bet for swag right now. Great question. I'm looking at other questions. Paige, I'm not sure if you can unmute and answer this. I'm seeing quite a few questions about Chromebook insurance, and I thought we had a link on our website. If we don't, I know there is one on the district website, but we could probably add it to ours tonight as well.
Another question while we're looking at that, we have a number of folks asking questions that were covered earlier. I think we can post this video later on rather than have everybody sit through all the same stuff again in case you missed something or want to see it again. We'll put that stuff up for you to access later on.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can. There you go.
Okay, great. So the resources on our page, so if you go to westparkhigh.com and go under Parent Student Resources, you should see several links to resources. I try to think of everything that you guys would want to know. So if there's something on there that you don't have a link to, that you need a link to, just go ahead and email me at pkhill@rjuhsd.us and I'll be able to add it for you. But Chromebook insurance is under that link. And so is the bell schedule and the school year calendar, all of that information. Okay.
Thank you, Paige. So it looks like many, many more of these questions need to be either that we need to reach out to you specifically. I can see a few of those. Additionally, we will put a post up on our website and or an email tonight, probably both. They give you some of these login questions in one place because it looks like there's quite a few of those, and we'll make sure that we have them done. I don't know that there's great question. What are porch visits? Well, we can't come inside. So we are going to be in our very cool Panther masks. I don't have mine right in front of me. And we will knock on your door and hopefully meet your student and talk to your student on the front porch so that we can connect with students and it's not so impersonal as always being on the computer all the time. We want to make sure that kids know that we are human. You can pinch us, so are they, and we you don't really want to pinch us, but I mean that we're real and so are they, and we want that human interaction, not just the screen interaction. So we hope to do that at least once with every student in the very near future, and then students beyond that that maybe need some extra attention, we will be coming back out and seeing them as well.
Can I address a question from Paul?
Yes, you can.
Will there be regular calls like this for communication of progress and learnings for topics discussed today? And I think that's such a great question. And I think it's kind of a complex answer, because one of the things we're learning with online learning is that teachers are really tapping into their most innovative selves, and they're creating spaces that where they're recording certain lessons that they're giving, or they're providing Zoom links for questions that kids might have later, that it might just be a 5-minute Zoom call. And there's all these really creative ways that our teachers are finding in order to really reiterate some of the curriculum and instruction. And a lot of that is found within the Google Suite, Google Classroom, Google Sites. Just all the online pieces of that have provided some really innovative ways to reach kids. And that being said, Becky, you could probably talk about some of the ways that we're going to be communicating with you regularly. That we've talked as a staff about our commitment to knowing our community in this time. And so communication is going to be really huge for us.
So, and thank you, Mike, because you just stole my thunder. We will have back to school night on the 20th. It will start in a format like this, and then there will be breakout sessions with each of our teachers. So there will be back to school night. We have a community-based event planned at the end of August. More details to come on that. And we have a variety of other ways we will be making sure that regular updates come out. And probably some of these, just where you can get on and let us know what the questions are that are coming up. We can do them in smaller groups so we can be live. We can figure out some ways to do that because you guys have some really good questions and I don't think we can even get to them all tonight. I just saw one more, sorry, and I wanted to go back to it. And there will be a freshman and sophomore class picture day. That was one of the other ones I saw. So we will be doing class pictures. We will be sending out a schedule for that. I believe it's the 31st of August and the 1st of September. And students will be issued ID cards. So we're trying to do as many of those things as we can. And all of these things will be coming out to you as we start rolling out the school year. And one other question, should parents be part of the class in the beginning tomorrow? I'm going to recommend no. It would be great if you were nearby in case your student has a tech issue, but most of our students, I think, would prefer to be on their own. But I think if you were close enough to ensure that they got on would be probably really, really good. I'm seeing a lot of people questioning where Zoom links are, and we're going to need to make sure that people have them. They're either in Aries or they were emailed to your students, so we need to double check both of those places. And I will we'll put information out about where to look for them. Did you want to address that? Okay, I'm going to step aside for a second.
This is fun. So I wanted to pop on to give you, some of you are having issues logging in. And so I have a couple updates from our tech department that I wanted to share with you. So all freshmen, there was an issue with freshman login. And so they're all now set to the student ID number. So if you don't know where your student ID number is, it was at Panther Pickup Day. We printed out your schedule. It's going to be in the top left corner. It's a 6-digit number. Parents, you can also log in to your own home link, and under demographics, you'll see the student ID number. So all freshmen have been reset to their student ID number. So that should help, hopefully, a lot of you. And then another thing that came up today is logging into the Chromebook. For some Chromebooks, I'm not sure if it's all of them, but for some Chromebooks, when they open up, the email address defaulted to @rjuhsd.us instead of where it's supposed to be @student.rjuhsd.us. So please make sure that if you want to say, you'll probably hit login with a different email and then you'll type out the entire student email address. So hopefully that helps some of you, but student ID number and then making sure that your login is your full email address. Okay, that's all I had to say.
So I'm seeing this a lot on the Aries app. It doesn't list West Park as a school when you first download the app. So it sounds like if you're on your phone, you aren't able to see it. We see that question on here, and we are going to find out. Some of these things are just things that maybe didn't get caught. So we will make sure that is, we'll make sure that is changed quickly. Okay, I see a lot more questions. I think we're going to take some time to answer some of these that are on the Google form. individually, either call you or email you, because some of them are pretty specific, and I want to honor everybody's time. We are in this learning together. Most of us just learned Zoom in the spring. We had never done it. I have never been on so many online meetings as all of us, we're all in that same boat. So no question is too small. You are not going to annoy us with a phone call or an email. We want to make sure that your student is able to get on to all of their classes. So we're going to get off this. We're going to post some things for you. We will make sure that there is adequate information, some of the stuff that Cassie just shared, available on our website under the resources tab. And then if there are still questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can email Jessup, me, Kathy. You can CC Paige on those emails, and we will make sure they get sent to the right people and make sure that you have what you need for tomorrow. We are going to have our phones monitored tomorrow morning. We know there might be a lot of calls, so please be patient with us, but we'll definitely get on with you and make sure that we know where you're headed. So we can't be more excited than we are to welcome your students. We want them to know how cared for they are, as Cassie talked about with the support services and just monitoring them for social emotional health. We know that they want to be involved in more aspects of school, and we're going to do everything we can for that to happen. So thank you for attending. We will repost this recording. We will start sending out answers to your questions, and we will have a great day tomorrow. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add? Or are we good to go? Okay. All right, you guys, thank you very much. Have a great night.